All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to break down a book that has, truly changed the game for millions of people when it comes to self-improvement. We're talking about Atomic Habits by James Clear. The subtitle really says it all, right? An easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. But the big idea here, the real secret, is actually much simpler. It's all about the unbelievable power of doing things that are incredibly small. So let's be honest for a second. Have you ever felt that? You get super excited about a huge goal, like I'm going to run a marathon or I'm going to be fluent in a new language. And then a few weeks later, it just fades. If that sounds familiar, then you're in the right place because we're about to find out why that happens and what you can actually do about it. And the answer, according to James Clear, it all starts with a totally different way of thinking. You gotta forget about these massive overnight transformations. Instead, he says we should look at the surprising, almost hidden power of getting just 1% better. You know, the reason those big goals often fall apart isn't because there's something wrong with you. It's the system. James Clear says the problem is that we aim way too high, way too fast. The real secret isn't about finding more willpower, it's about having a better strategy. And that strategy, well, it starts with thinking small. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Check out the math on this. Getting 1% better every single day for a year doesn't just make you 365% better. No, because of compounding, you actually end up almost 38 times better. It's wild. And the flip side is true too. Get 1% worse each day and you're pretty much back to zero. It's those tiny daily choices that really shape your future. And this quote just nails it perfectly. It's the best analogy. Think of your habits like money in a high-yield savings account. A tiny deposit today feels like nothing, right? But over time, that interest compounds, and you end up with a fortune. The same exact thing is happening with your daily routines. So where did this whole idea of compounding habits even come from? Well, for James Clear, this wasn't just some clever theory he dreamed up. To really get why this is so powerful, you have to hear his story, a journey that basically forced him to figure this out just to survive. Yeah, this wasn't an academic exercise for him. He wasn't some researcher in a lab coat. He was a young athlete whose entire life was turned upside down in a split second. And these small habits, they were the only path he had to get back on his feet. I mean, just look at this timeline. He's in high school, and a baseball bat hits him in the face so hard he gets multiple skull fractures and ends up in a medically induced coma. His dream of playing pro baseball, it looked like it was completely over. But then in college, he didn't make some dramatic, movie-style comeback. He just started small. Things like keeping his room tidy, lifting weights just a little bit every day, going to bed on time. These tiny atomic habits started to compound until 6 years down the road, he was named a top athlete and an academic All-American. He actually did it. So that powerful personal story wasn't just a story. It became the very foundation for his entire philosophy. From that experience, Clear built a simple, memorable, and just incredibly practical system for change. And he calls it the 4 Laws Framework. And this quote is so crucial. Seriously, forget about your goals for a second. He points out that winners and losers often have the exact same goals. The real difference? It's their systems. A good system is what makes progress feel almost automatic. And that's exactly what these 4 laws are designed to help you build. Clear figured out that every single habit we have, the good ones, the bad ones, from brushing your teeth to mindlessly checking your phone, it all runs on the same simple feedback loop in your brain. And if you understand this loop, you can take back control. So here they are, the 4 steps. First, there's a cue. That's the trigger, like your phone buzzing. That cue creates a craving, the motivation to see who messaged you. Your response is the action. You pick up the phone. And finally, the reward is that feeling of satisfaction you get from checking the message. Cue, craving, response, reward. This little loop is running on autopilot inside your head all day, every day. And boom, here is the big aha moment. The 4 laws are like control levers for each step of that loop. If you want to build a good habit, you just make the cue obvious, make the craving attractive, make the response easy, and make the reward satisfying. It's a simple blueprint for literally engineering your own behavior. So let's break that down and start with the very first law. Make it obvious. This one is all about designing your environment so that your good habits are just the easiest, most natural choice you can make. One of the absolute best ways to do this is a technique he calls habit stacking. The genius of it is you don't have to invent new time in your schedule. You just find a habit you already do automatically and bolt your new habit right onto it. You're basically hijacking the momentum you already have. And the formula for it is just beautifully simple. After my current habit, I will do my new habit. So, for example, after I pour my morning cup of coffee, I will meditate for 1 minute. Or, after I take off my work shoes, I will immediately change into my gym clothes. See? The old habit becomes the obvious trigger for the new one. Okay, so that gives you a taste of the first law. But now, let's zoom back out and see how all 4 of these laws click together to create a complete system, one that works for building good habits and for breaking bad ones. So, making the cue obvious gets you started, but it's the other 3 laws that really make sure you stick with it. You make it attractive, so you actually want to do it. You make it easy to lower the friction, so it takes way less willpower. And finally, you make it satisfying, so your brain gets an immediate little reward and says, hey, that was good, let's do that again. This slide right here, this is the entire playbook in a nutshell. And look how powerful this is. To break a bad habit, you just flip the laws on their head. You invert them. Want to stop eating junk food? Make it invisible. Don't keep it in the house. Make it unattractive. Think about how sluggish it makes you feel. Make it difficult. You'd have to drive to the store to get it. It gives you a tool for literally any situation you're facing. So when it's all said and done, what's the real goal of all this? Because it's about more than just checking off items on a to-do list or hitting some outcome. It's much deeper than that. This right here is maybe the deepest insight in the whole book. Every single action you take is like casting a vote for the type of person you want to be. When you make your bed, you're casting a vote for being an organized person. When you go to the gym, you cast a vote for being a healthy person. Habits aren't about having something, they're about becoming someone. And that brings us right back to where we started. It all begins with one tiny atomic change, a 1% improvement. But these small habits, they don't just add up. They compound on top of each other, creating these incredible exponential results over time. That is the real secret to lasting change. So really, the only question left to ask is this one. What is the first 1% change you're going to make today? It doesn't have to be big. In fact, it shouldn't be. Just pick one tiny thing, one atomic habit, and start casting a vote for the person you want to become.